her uncle and her grandfather had always brought her to church and encouraged her to be a Christian. She says that after the death of these family members, she found herself praying to God that he would perform the miraculous sign of bringing her family members back from the dead. And when this didn't happen, she says she found herself hating God, not believing that he was there, and accusing him of being a fake or a liar. This is truly an amazing story of coming back to Jesus. I ended up inviting her to church as we became better friends, and she not only regularly attends the Wednesday night service, but also Sunday morning service on a regular basis. She also accepted Christ this summer at CIY. But just like my friend, I think that we all have a time in our lives when we find ourselves in a state of disbelief at one time or another. It's easy to get caught up in our circumstances and let those determine who God is, but that's not how it works. Depending on how well our life is going or how prevalent God is in our lives, we may describe him in different ways, have different names for God or Jesus, or have a better or worse belief in him. But inevitably, God is who he is no matter what we think. Towards the end of Mark 8, if you'll turn with me to Mark 8:27, it says, Jesus and his disciples left Galilee and went up to the villages near Caesarea Philippi. They were walking along, and Jesus asked them, "Who do the people say I am?" Well, they replied, "Some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah, and some say you are another one of the prophets." And just like the people of that day, we have our own modern responses to the question, who is Jesus? Depending on how well our life is going, some of these answers might be some very Christian answers, and some of them, if our life is going badly or we feel like God's not there, they might be some not so very Christian answers. Some of these might include a liar, a fake, cruel, some lunatic that's written about in the Bible, something my parents believe is real and will do anything they think is coming from him. And in different times we may feel different emotions towards God, such as hate, resentment, disbelief, fear, and maybe a longing for God to do something in our lives so that we can believe in him like we used to. God not only claimed to be a good teacher, he not only claimed to be a healer, but literally God in the flesh. One quote from C.S. Lewis says, Jesus was either a liar, a lunatic, or he was Lord. And in this quote, it only gives us three options. But as we know, we have many different responses to the question, who is Jesus? In John 1:1, there's a little bit of a different answer. And it says, in the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. And I think Peter has it right when we pick right back up in Mark 8, verse 29, and it says, then he asked them, but who do you say I am? Peter replied, you are the Messiah. I think that sometimes we get caught up in the fact that there aren't miraculous signs from heaven happening in our everyday life. People aren't making our little lunches turn into enough food to feed 4,000 people. They're not healing blind men on the streets right in front of our eyes. And Peter has it right, because all the other answers besides the Messiah or a variation of that are proven wrong by every single piece of the Bible and every single event in Jesus' story. He changes water into wine, he heals lepers, raises widows' sons from the dead, feeds 4,000 or 5,000 men and their families, calms storms, walks on water, casts away demons, heals blind men, heals deaf men, catches a fish with a coin in his mouth, predicts his own death and is even risen from the dead 3 days later. And that's just a few. And I don't know about you, but when I hear that, I get really excited because I know that that's my God. But why should we care? As high schoolers, why should we care? Besides the fact that our God has done these amazing things, and we have the option to be with Him have Him protecting us for the rest of our lives, and even beyond that in heaven. Maybe some of you are thinking this doesn't apply to you. You come to church, you say that Jesus is Lord, and you go home. But maybe at home or at school or out with friends, you don't act the Christian life. We're all high schoolers, and the next step after graduation is hopefully going to college, moving out of our parents' places, and really being an adult. Well, if you don't act like a Christian when your parents are forcing you to come to church, or you're coming of your own free will just to hang out with that one person, if you're not acting like a Christian then you're definitely not going to act like a Christian when no one's forcing you to come to church. Life is going to start to get real after high school, and if you don't have that backing, that faith backing you up, then it's not going to be enough when things start happening. It's not enough to come to church and act like you're a Christian here and then go home and do things that aren't so Christian. But if you have a real faith in Jesus and know that He is Lord and really live that out, then you're going to have that backing you up 24/7, 365 for the rest of your life. So maybe that's not you. Maybe you're like me, you've grown up in the church, you have this amazing faith in Jesus, and you carry that with you wherever you go, church, school, hanging out with friends. But what about the people around you? You have this amazing faith in Jesus, and so why can't other people? If you have this amazing faith in Jesus, it would be greedy and wrong to keep it all for yourself and not share it with other people. Jesus calls us to be evangelistic. He calls us to bring other people into His family so that they might have the same faith and keeping them going. Because when times get tough, that's all they're really going to need. But what if you don't believe a word that I'm saying to you right now? Maybe you're just here because your parents make you come, or you want to hang out with that friend that wants to be here. Well, I hope you heard what I said today and are thinking, maybe this isn't just something people come to when times get tough. Maybe this is a lifestyle that will help you through every day of your life. If that's you, I encourage you to continue coming to church and hear about the amazing things that Jesus has done in His life and the amazing plans that He has for yours. I also encourage you to talk to one of our youth leaders and figure out how you can see that the only answer to who Jesus is Lord. Because if you have that, then that's all you're going to need when times get tough. So wherever you're at with your faith in Jesus, I encourage you to figure out what your answer is to the question, who is Jesus? And if that's something other than Lord, find out how you can make that your only answer. And if that is your only answer, be that thing that people can come to fix their views and make that their only answer. Be evangelistic and help give people that faith that will keep them going every single day of their life. Because when times get tough, that's all they're going to need. Thank you.